exciting time in Los Angeles. By the way, Happy New Chinese Year to all of you. Celebration is on the way. I actually came from Silicon Valley with a little luggage, as you can see. Beautiful ladies and man. So I've been doing not only the venture investing, but angel investing for the past 15 years. We've been working with a lot of VC funds, and I'm advocating for women in tech. We created a new investment fund last year called Ask the Angels. So if there are any women in the audience who would like to learn more about that, I'm happy to share my expertise and thoughts on that. But today I would like to introduce you to the most fun part of this whole event. And actually those are the people, not only my friends, but my colleagues. And they coming from different parts of this really cool place called Silicon Valley. In fact, Olga is local, sorry about that.
That's okay.
Today we want to talk about what this is, why we get so excited about crowdsourcing and crowdfunding, what this is all about. And I invited specifically one person who represents a startup community, Joheem. So she's the CEO and co-founder of SOCXS. We do have a beautiful lady, local, Olga. So she's a content celebrity, she's a YouTube celebrity, so she's all over the place.
Woo! Go Olga!
That's all my friends.
Exactly. And we decided to invite another guy. So from the little company called Google, and he is a managing business partner with YouTube. And I will let you guys start just describing a little bit, a few things about yourself, because every time I see you, we start catching up, and I feel like, oh my gosh, we haven't seen each other for a month. We've been already doing so many things. So, like Bill Joy said sometimes, no matter who you are, the smartest people work for somebody else. Why? So, and how the hell are we going to bring all of them together in one room and utilize their expertise? So maybe we can start with Joheem and say, and ask her a question in terms of, okay, how did you end up here?
So I'm from Malaysia. I came here about 23 years ago, and I've always been in tech, degree in engineering and physics. So I love tech, and I've always been in tech. And we started a digital agency 17 years ago, and bootstrap. That's what we did. 17 years ago, we started the agency. Was very successful. Sony PlayStation was our client. We did billions of page views, ran all of their marketing, database, everything. Built the whole system so that 3 non-engineers could run the whole system. But through our experience, building for agencies, Omnicom was client, Euro RSCG was a client, we found that a lot of management of media needs to be streamlined. So 3 years ago, we did another bootstrap, and we bootstrapped our second company, and right now it's generating revenue, getting traction, and have large companies like Fisher Investment to client, Lions Club signed up, and maybe
I the Congresswoman just contacted me out of nowhere.
Yeah,
That's
so
interesting.
we're introducing a new concept called crowd inversion. And what we're doing is, there's so much noise today. You have people sharing on Instagram, on Facebook, but all of that becomes noise. There's no way to invert the whole process. So we invert the process, bring any media from anywhere, streamline it into a publisher, so that you as a brand, yourself, your company, your product, you can actually utilize this brand and mobilize your champions, mobilize your crowd to be your advocate, to be your ambassador. And they not only take your brand, but also take all of your media to spread the word. You can tie in promotion, you can tie in marketing, so that they become your outreach. They become your personal ambassador to spread your brand. So it's a very different model. And we're getting like Olga, Inessa was saying, politicians, even big financial company like Fisher Investments are using us to replicate for their agents. So in 2 minutes, you can actually have all of our agents create your brand and your message.
So when you say 2 minutes, it sounds like really fast and anyone can do it. I mean, I know there's a tons of work behind that. I know this guy's been working on this concept for 7 years. I mean, to be an expert at Sony and doing what this guy's done, it's incredible. And if you guys have any questions, I mean, we'll continue that part. But let's talk about a company who just disrupted the entire city, bringing Silicon Valley and Hollywood together. So maybe how did you guys decide to come up with this interesting idea of 41,000 square feet next to LAX and what this is all about? Tell us.
Sure. So at YouTube, a little over a year ago, we opened up a studio near Playa Vista, which we call the YouTube Space LA, and it's 41,000 square feet of studio space that we make available to YouTube creators. It was actually built in the old hangar that James Cameron used to film the movie Avatar. So it has some fun history there, and you know the goal of the place. We kind of have 3 mantras: learn, share, and create. We want to help creators elevate their game, and we make it available. We have 7 stages, all sorts of amazing equipment and technology available there, and the latest post-production equipment.
So I heard you guys changing the studios every week, or is that?
Well, we actually do have one stage in which we have a set that we'll rotate and create like a new set theme every month, like a castle theme or a jungle theme or whatever, and allow YouTube creators to come in and shoot and create content there, and in the style that they want, and it's all for free. We don't provide
That's
crew,
amazing.
but we make it free because we believe that we want to provide access to these resources for YouTube creators who have a vision or a plan, and to help them elevate their creative game. There's been some amazing stories.
How
that
did you
come
meet
from
this lady next to you?
That's a good question, because so at YouTube, I've been the product manager for YouTube Analytics, reporting and payment system, the partner program. A lot of the over the last 4 years, the side of YouTube that does all the calculation and payment out to YouTube creators. And it just so happened there was a certain channel or certain partner who kept running into all these bugs and tripping all these little issues with the system. And I was like, oh man, like this particular quarter case again. Who's this Olga K
Can
person?
somebody fix my problem, please?
So what was really funny is that I was like, well, maybe I should just start contacting and talking with her directly and seeing how that. So that's actually how we got introduced, because you seemed to trip all the particular landmines that we had in our system.
Yeah.
But then came really good friends, because I think we both share a passion for
Juggling.
For
By
juggling.
the way,
That's
they're a great job.
Yes. Anyone has
Idea
6 juggling clubs around,
So
we
they
can
can do
actually
it
pass
actually,
clubs
for
in
sure.
here.
I mean, I've seen
And
it.
put
It's
Inessa in the
crazy.
middle.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Justice, we're professionals, it's okay. So yeah, that's how we started.
So Olga, what about you?
So well, before I go on, first of all, I judged the Miss California pageant, and congratulations. You guys do really hard work. I've seen girls go through so much struggle. So for me, I'm from Russia originally, and I was traveling with the circus when I was 14 years old, because that was one of my goals, and that's what I wanted to turn into a career. So I was 14, traveling with the circus. I was juggling. That's how the juggling comes in. And when I was about 16 years old, I was invited to come to America to perform with Ringling Brothers. And so it was really amazing. I was 16, I was making my first money and spending it everywhere as a teenager. And traveling in America, I just fell in love with America and the opportunities that this country had to offer. So when I was 19, I decided to stay here and continue doing juggling for TV commercials or something bigger outside of the circuses. And I remember trying to find a job anywhere, because I wasn't performing as much as I wanted to, and it was very difficult. Everyone turned me down with the comment, well, this is not the circus, right? And so I'm like, what, I can't be a waitress? I maybe can juggle your bottles as I deliver them to the table. So nobody gave me a job, so, right? So that was a very difficult time in my life, but right around that time I discovered YouTube. That was back in 2007. really knew what YouTube was all about. I don't think YouTube knew what it was about.
Well, your company was acquired by YouTube, right? One of your companies?
Oh, one of my
Yeah.
Oh no, that was actually by Yahoo and a
Yahoo.
former company, but then a subsequent
He's
company I
a
started
serial
that
entrepreneur, so
that
I
worked
know
with
got
YouTube.
lost
so.
how many companies
Yeah, I
you've
know.
sold.
So YouTube became this hobby place where I wanted to create opportunities for me as a juggler, and I realized that if I become a personality and I build a brand through YouTube, I can actually make a living doing it. So I've been making a living off of YouTube for the last probably 4 or 5 years. The first 2 years was just a test.
Ever since we got the paychecks correctly
Yeah, right?
going to your account, then yes. Yeah.
So YouTube became my job, and I've launched different channels. I've launched a comedy channel and a video game channel and a fashion and beauty channel and lifestyle channel. So that became my 24/7 job, and my network consists of over 1.2 million followers now. So I've been doing this for a while. So realizing the power of the internet, I've decided to create new businesses. So this year I've launched knee-high socks. My audience of teenagers, and I created knee-high socks that have faces and
Where are you
ears.
at? Where are they?
I know they're not on me. They're actually coming in.
Right?
They're
No,
good.
Not for that.
I do have lots of postcards I'll give you later. So that's one of my new businesses, and the response is so overwhelming, and it makes me realize that there's so much more opportunities that left to explore because of this social media platform that I've created myself.
So are you happy with YouTube?
This guy?
I mean,
Oh, YouTube in general? I'm very happy with YouTube, and Andy has been such a great friend, and we've been doing so many panels together and talking about so many business ideas, and we just, I think this partnership is never going to be over. And that's how I met Inessa as well, in Andy's house. So
That's
this is
right.
like a family.
it is a family, so you can ask any questions. I'd like to kind of start interacting with the crowd because we would like to discuss everything related to the crowdsourcing, specifically in the media. And there's a lot going on in the space. And if you have specific questions, we'll be happy to dive in right away. But if it's not, I would like to ask you guys, 3 of you, how do you really turn your followers into the measurable growth? I mean, what does it take you? What kind of steps you taking, each of you representing one of the companies and ourselves?
I'll go first. I feel like mine is so different because it's personality based, and I have this, I actually call my fans Mooch Army. So I gave them that title so they can feel empowered to create this gigantic movement together. So for me, it was getting the trust of my audience, creating content, connecting to my audience, and being real with them. And once you have that trust and people sharing your content and they want to be a part of your, let's say for me it's Mooch Army, then it becomes really easy to turn it into anything else. So if I go to events like VidCon, I don't know if you guys are familiar.
Oh yes, but I was trying to be suave about it. Just
But-
pull it
yeah.
off like I was readjusting myself. But yes, I was.
But VidCon is one of the most gigantic events in the YouTube community. It started actually here in one of those rooms back in 2010 with 2,000 people, and this year they're expecting 25,000 people to show up. So when you start growing a community and you go into all these events and connecting to your fans and creating new fans.
How many fans do you have followers by now?
So combined on all of my 4 channels, it's 1.6 or 3 million, I forget. I haven't checked. I stopped checking the numbers because I'm working on my socks. It's taking all of my time. So once you have the following and the trust, it's easy to turn it into a business. And I was just thinking the other day how fortunate I am, or lucky, or maybe smart, I'm not sure which one, to be on YouTube and create the social following. With launching a business like the socks, I automatically have built-in customers. And on top of it all, for the marketing, I already have built-in marketing through all of my YouTube friends that are gigantic celebrities that will be wearing my socks whether they want it or not. So,
That's a good one.
so there's just so many things, and I worked with so many different companies in the past trying to promote their products, and it's just so nice to have your own product and actually push it to your audience and
about socks. What do you think?
Actually, not everybody is like Olga that can create a phenomenon in the online world. So, but there are a lot of offline supporters. Like if you think about, for example, Lions Club, which is a nonprofit. It's a really good nonprofit, and they have lots and lots of supporters. But none of them are like Olga, who can create a phenomenon. But they all have passionate outreach to their friends and to their family. How do you mobilize that? So my goal is to enable, to facilitate the whole process so that anyone who cares about a cause can become a champion for that particular cause and brand.
So
and
if I
like
just
a
would
Olga.
like to, you know, let's say I'm the nonprofit, and I'm sure some of you represent or maybe sit on the board of nonprofit organizations, because you're right, I mean, there's so much going on in the nonprofit world. I mean, how do we raise the money? If I go to your platform, what do I do?
So money is just one aspect of the brand. Obviously, nonprofit, their goal is to raise money, but they do so much. They have so much good that they need to share. Media is what they use to share. And let's say you go to an event that you have, like a Lions Club event, or even a food bank. Everyone take pictures and everyone take a video of what they're participating in. But all of that becomes noise and it's not carried forward for the nonprofit. So we turn the model around so that everyone who's an ambassador for the brand can take that and use that as a passion and an impulse to spread to your friends and family, to at the end of the day use that to convert into somebody's donation. They see a result, like, oh my gosh, my friend, my daughter, my niece, my nephew actually went and volunteered and did this. Why shouldn't I give $5, $10? So the monetization of it comes after the passion.
So you create the story, you help them to get this story out, you monetize it, you bring the community together, and voila, you just bring all of them together.
Yeah, it's a streamlined process, starting with the media. Use the media so that you can allow brands to activate, to mobilize the crowd to tell your story.
Yeah, and also I was learning a little bit about her platform earlier today, and for me, as a content creator and doing anything on social media, it's an everyday struggle to figure out what is the next social media platform that I have to be part of, and whether or not it's good or bad, I still have to be part of it just in case. And it becomes really difficult to really spread your audience in so many different ways. So with your platform, it's so nice that everything just goes into one place, so you can't really miss it. And that's important because I feel like I'm spreading my audience way too thin, so many different directions.
It's an organization of media, and you should utilize any media to represent you. And your fans are talking about you in every media. So pull it back in, invert the model.
That's great. I mean, well said. The things I could just pile on top of briefly is that, you know, as all of you, if you're thinking about, if you've got either a brand or a site or a cause or something that you're trying to build and grow audience to, I mean, Olga's a great example of someone who's doing it right. But there's some elements that she does, if you kind of, open up the curtains a little bit, lift the kimono, peel the onion, whatever metaphor. Sorry, I wasn't being too suggestive here. You were, that's right, that's your job. So the, number one, I think the most important thing is just being authentic, right? Making sure that you have an authentic voice come through. I mean, it was fantastic watching Jack in his session at 10 o'clock talk about Patreon. It's like, just very, very passionate, very authentic. It's a very clear message, and that's what people will engage with. A second point is recognize that, and I'll speak to the YouTube platform because that's what I'm helping represent. Is that it's the world's largest creative platform that allows for engagement. So think about how what you're creating others can engage with, like whether it's following on with comments or giving a call to action for your viewers to do other things, watch another video, go get their friends, and so forth. So think about engagement. Also recognize that it's a global platform, and you have instant access to, if your message going out to, we have 1 billion, let's see, 1 billion paid, a
Yeah.
billion monthly uniques, unique users a month to YouTube.com.
1 billion.
And so, depending on your channel, 40% of that could be, or 60% of that could be, outside of the U.S. So think about how, how to engage with the global audience. And I guess the fourth thing would be, in terms of how to build and grow an audience, think about who you can either collaborate with or partner with, and this is kind of how it can tie back a little bit to crowdsourcing and fundraising, or crowdsourcing other bits. But think about who you can partner with, or maybe do a video on their channel, or then maybe they can do a video on your channel. Because what is wonderful about the YouTube platform is that it's not parasitic at all. It actually, we can prove with data that it's mutually beneficial to all to collaborate with somebody else. You're not going to steal someone else's view. The reality is that you're actually extending a viewer's session. So they're watching more minutes of time, they're discovering more people, and it's beneficial for the advertisers. Session lengths are longer, we can advertise more, the creators can actually get paid more money. Everybody wins. And so, so I would, and it's a great way to build and grow audience. So I'd suggest think about how to
Jump up. But
collaborate.
speaking of stealing views, for example, it's not bad. It's not. I don't even know how this is related to anything. But YouTube is one of those platforms. It's a platform on viral videos. People launch gigantic businesses. People go down because of viral videos. So Bill Gates made a viral video. Anyone? BillGatesLetter.com. It's his foundation video. You should look it up. It's really funny. It's very simple video that he's made, and
Did he ask you to do it?
no. But I am, and that's what I'm trying to say. Even though I kind of this morning stole his idea, but at the same time I'm promoting what he did as well in my description. So I made a video identical to his, but it's me talking about my website.
Like SNL.
Right, exactly. So I just made a parody of his viral video, and so this morning, I also launched a website, mooshworld.com, where I bring all of my audience together, and there's more things happening on the website than just YouTube videos. And so all these people were visiting my website because of this video I posted this morning, and so it's one of those things that you play on what's popular in the media and bring the new audience to your channel.
Yeah,
So-
I wouldn't call that stealing views. You're actually having something that's it's complementary
Yeah.
to something else. And again, you're continuing the conversation with the viewer, right? The viewer
Correct.
sees Bill's, and then they want to see, maybe there's a video and like, hey, who's Olga?
Yeah.
Let's see what she does.
So what do you guys think about, so what really comes first? Voice, content, or brand?
Oh, it's gonna be so many different answers here.
To me, they all come together. It's a whole streamlined process. The brand needs to put media out, and the media needs to reach the crowd. So it has to come together.
For me, they all have to come together. I'm just kidding. But I was trying to do
I
the
got
same
first.
For me, it's a little different because I started off as creating content and see where it goes, and then I realized that I'm actually creating a brand. Because I didn't start off with a perfect plan of what I'm gonna be on YouTube, so it just kind of molded into what it is now. But then it depends, because I also create scripted content, and then you create content, and then your content carries the voice.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, it goes back to what Inessa said. It's just adapting to change, always. Just figuring out.
So we've
what's
been
next.
debating this morning, and there's a lot of startup companies here. In fact, I see a lot of companies I invested in who have been speaking earlier today. So where does the business model comes from? I mean, and you described it perfectly. I mean, it's going to take you a while until you get it. You know, it's maybe a year, maybe 2 years, but don't be afraid of the change. I mean, keep going and testing and talk to your audience and just be crazy and bold.
It's making lots of mistakes and
Absolutely.
see where that goes. I've learned to embrace it.
So your thoughts?
I laugh at yourself.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
Well, okay, so if I were to talk specifically for somebody who from a YouTube creator standpoint.
Well, give us two views of the YouTube standpoint and personally yourself, because I know you do a lot of other things. Maybe we could talk about that later.
Yeah, sure. So I would say, from a YouTube standpoint, is to recognize that there's, okay, if we talk about monetization and trying to be sustainable from a financial standpoint, it's recognizing that there's not one revenue channel that is likely going to be it for you. It's going to be a combination, and you're going to probably figure out what mix of what's available to you, whether it's transactional revenue or advertising revenue or sponsorship revenue or merchandise revenue. There's a bunch of different forms, but I would encourage anyone who's trying that to experiment. As you mentioned, we at YouTube want to be able to provide you with the tools such that you can analyze, you can experiment, and you can analyze. We have YouTube analytics that are evolving and advancing to give you the best data. So I would encourage you, because we don't have the answer for you. It's going to be different because everyone has their own voice.
Yes, absolutely.
And so we've got resources that allow you to iterate, and everyone's goals are going to be different too. Some people might want to just go for audience. Some people actually might want to make money, and it can change. So I would encourage you to experiment.
And from your personal
well,
standpoint?
I think for me, what really gets me going is helping make people's creative dreams come true. So like me, fundamentally, that's what I like to do, and why I ended up at YouTube is that I think it's the world's largest global creative platform that can help people find
It's
their
a
voice.
drama, by the way.
I'm a recovering musician, so I'm sorry, that's not.
So anyway, it's the next like 41,000 square foot next location, like in San Francisco, New York.
They have a lot.
So we have one in Tokyo, we have one in London, building one in New York, and then.
That I'm moving to.
Yes.
in a year.
No.
For just a couple of months.
Okay.
Both
after
my
that.
kids, come on.
So, but speaking of the content, so they're building this new studio in New York, and what a great opportunity just to go and shoot something specifically in New York.
New York,
So that's
exactly.
one of my goals before I start popping out babies. So I figured I should go and travel and enjoy all the studios across the world.
You mean juggling a family life?
Yeah.
Your artistic life?
Yeah.
I see.
History focus.
Okay. No, I guess to the point earlier that I just want to, at least what drives me is helping to find sustainability, not only to help people from an artistic standpoint make their dream come true, but it's also to have some form of sustainability, right? It's not just like, oh, I've got one big huge sandcastle I want to build on the beach, and look, there it is, it's done. If there's an art that you want to keep going, how can we find a way from a financial standpoint, either through YouTube or other forms, even beyond that, beyond what I do from a normal 9-to-5 job? How can we make that? How can we make that possible?
Question, okay.
A question about sustainability.
Yes.
In traditional media, most, well, I don't know, actually I don't have statistics on this. It seems like, or it appears that a lot of phenomena are not sustainable, right? Either an actress who gets hot and then fades, or a band that has a massive single and gets 2 million plays and then is gone. Do you feel like YouTube allows for a breakout from that model, from that one-hit kind of wonder model? And what, as someone who works at YouTube, what have you seen that is different from one-hit wonder? How are artists being more sustainable and long-term focused, as opposed to, I'm going to try and sell 2 million songs and then cash out? But is there a difference? Is it just the next iteration of one-hit wonders on YouTube? People, because it does exist, right? There are YouTubers who were huge in 2006.
Right.
So what, can you speak about
Can
sustainability?
I take that first, please?
Oh my
Oh.
gosh, okay.
Sorry, I'm not trying to steal the show.
It's going to cost you a pair of socks.
Sure. So I started in the traditional media as well, and the reason I really started concentrating on YouTube is because of the same reason. I would get a job, and then I would wait for the next job to come in, and it was just not a good, money-making career. So YouTube gave me opportunity to. I'm actually never been a viral YouTuber, and that's what I say all the time. Like I've never had a gigantic hit that made me start growing audience. So for me, it's always been slowly growing audience and really testing and discovering. And I think that is the reason why I'm still relevant. So I feel like it depends who you are. If you work really hard on the platform, I think it's very. I see myself doing it for another as many years as I have passion for. So I feel that's why it's different. Where in Hollywood or music industry, you don't really have that luxury to create your own things. You kind of always have to wait for that bigger guy to help you.
So would that supplement like an artist, you think, that is struggling or trying to get found or no?
I used to tell all of my friends that are actors, musicians, do something on YouTube because you never know who's gonna see you and how successful you might become. I don't give that advice anymore. Only because YouTube became so oversaturated. So now it is becoming a mini Hollywood where you have to know certain people to collaborate to grow your channels and so
Here
on.
they are.
I'm right here. But I feel like it's the same, but it's different. It depends what kind of drive you have.
So I can add on to that thing, like in the traditional music industry, for example, if you were a popular artist and your catalog continues, so then you have a form of recurring revenue. In fact, David Bowie was able to innovate on financial instruments and create bonds against very predictable income stream of royalties there. You can find comparable things like that on YouTube in the sense of somebody who's organically grown like an audience like Olga, and if your content is such that you can put out new videos like on a weekly basis, then what you have is a long tail of her back catalog will always continue to get views, and videos that have been there for 3 years and then go on 4 years start to get better SEO performance over time because we know that they result in a lot of watch time. So you do see some of that happening. Now with an original music, it's hard to necessarily do an amazing arrangement and crank out something every week, right? That can be challenging. And so there is there is a I think it can depend on your the form of content. But looking forward, I mean, we certainly from the YouTube standpoint want to embrace not only transparency, but the work on other ways to, I would say, from a larger mantra, no gatekeepers. So we want to be able to help facilitate more frictionless transaction between, such that the creators who are responsible for the platform working can see things a lot more quickly and wholly, like from a revenue standpoint.
Yeah, but also it's understanding the platform is just being proactive. YouTube Space came around and I had to be part of it immediately because that's just the next step. And now I live there, that's my second home. So just little things like that, just being proactive. Where in Hollywood it's still impossible to.
So you have a question. Yeah, just one more iteration on the same theme. Do you have a favorite, in addition to Olga's programming, that might be a model in your mind of an ideal ecosystem? Like I love Crash Course and the guys at Pop Cafe.
Yes.
I'd love that to be sustainable for some of the reasons you're talking about. But do you have a favorite, and can you talk about the elements of your favorite in addition to Olga's?
Sure, I can name a few. I think one of the early channels that did it really well was The Annoying Orange. And Dane Bowe just knocked it out of the park for a variety of reasons. He for those of you who don't know, it's a orange that he does talking fruit. And it's annoying. And it is annoying. It's strangely engaging that I must watch another episode. a number of things there why that's a great case study. He didn't start off with the idea of making an annoying orange. He just iterated on a bunch of like random experiments with making fruit talk, and did and then created this character, and then saw, whoa, there's a little spike in viewership. Maybe I should go down that angle. I think he was one of the first to really embrace a full social media blast with what was going out. So people on Twitter and Facebook would also know when it launched to YouTube. Another element of his success is that he engaged other creators and to make guest voices on as other fruit. And
I was a lettuce.
is that right?
I was a lettuce on it. Not on the TV show, but the YouTube series, yeah.
And then he also had a follow-up action for his viewers to take after they watched the video, and then he parlayed that into a show on the Cartoon Network.
And again, instead of going for really big Hollywood stars, which he brought in a lot to be cast members, but he brought in one of the biggest YouTubers as well. So then the show became successful because all the social media was pushing to TV all of a sudden, where all of our viewers, I would say, they're just hanging out on their iPhones and iPads. They don't necessarily watching.
So does everyone need a brand in order to become successful? What do you think, James?
Everyone is a brand.
Yeah.
Basically, any company, any product, you have to brand yourself, create your identity. And so Olga did it really successfully. Go ahead.
I feel like YouTube is a great platform to be found, but where is YouTube going to now like move from like saying create cat videos towards like
We never said that.
Yeah.
Just keep doing that.
Yeah.
or creating these viral hits like what does the fox say, and push it towards more almost kind of like a Netflix oriented where these creators are now creating something that's meaningful. It creates the emotional attachment. What's YouTube doing to, I guess,
Yeah.
I mean, there's no reason why YouTube can't like start being like Netflix and pushing against the Hollywood scene and say, we are actually a player here.
Well,
Right.
that's happening with people like Freddie Wong. And I think it's going to be happening even more. Even I know it's a big secret, which I'm going to release right now. Even at the YouTube space, they're working on some programs where they bring creators and create scripted content, where it's a storyline that.
Soap opera on YouTube.
Well, there's plenty of that already. But hopefully something like Orange is the New Black is going to be one of the series on YouTube one day. But Freddie Wong was a good example.
Yeah. There was actually, I mean, you read in the papers that about a year and a half ago or 2 years ago that YouTube made a significant investment in terms of millions and millions of dollars in helping to fund original content, longer form content that would be on YouTube to get away from these cat videos. But so we succeeded in changing the discussion in Hollywood, in that you know, after that happened, then you had House of Cards, then you had a lot of other people taking web video very seriously. And so there is a push towards longer form content. We've got some stats that I can't quite remember off the top of my head, so I won't say them, but I'll just say that the percentage of long form content, which content generally over 10 minutes on YouTube, the watch time has been increasing quite a bit. So there is certainly a push towards that. But the YouTube space is a perfect example of something that we're doing. So Freddie Wong shot his entire second season of Video Game High School. He spent 6 weeks in our Studio One setting up this huge set that normally would have costed him like tens of thousands of dollars for like the studio time. We made available that to him for free. And he created this amazing, very engaging, very successful web series, Video Game High School Season 2. And he just now released the Kickstarter, no, Indiegogo, sorry. Indiegogo for Season 3, the final season of Video Game High School. So Freddie Wong, I think, is another example of somebody who's really doing it right, and he recognizes that it's not effects or cheap gimmicks or cats trying to jump and falling. It's a strong narrative. Like over time, the thing that is the biggest indication of success is a good, strong narrative, and he's focused on trying to do that rather than chasing trends, which he used to do. He got his initial fame by kind of chasing trends and doing some videos here and there. But yeah, that's.
Okay, so I'm just thinking that the early adopters that come in have a much longer ability to really get that kind of traction. So I'm looking at like the Viners, right? Like my kids are all over that, and there are just as there are YouTube sensations, there are Vine sensations. So looking at what your platform does, I mean, how do we representing our own personal brands and we representing thriving organizations start to really spend our time, and how do we pick and choose those things? Because I think that's
Great
really the
question.
biggest challenge.
Absolutely.
So it's literally starting a waterfall effect, but the start of a waterfall effect has to start from people that care most about you. So for the politician, they start with the core people. The candidate has probably 10 core people. The 10 core people will be the first outreach and the first cycle. And they are also encouraged to get more and more followers for that brand. And it's very different from Facebook or YouTube. You can completely brand it so that your champions can carry your full identity. And every iteration should grow your complete brand network. So one, basically a personal touch. You touch your friend is encouraged to become a champion, and then that goes
Let's
on.
give an example to you. Let's talk about the Pasadena Elementary School.
And that's a
Can you-
really good example. We had we did a trial. We did a trial to get kids involved in their community, their school. So there was for planting trees. So we did a trial with one classroom and just got 20 kids interested. And they went out to their friends and family, their mom and papa, even neighbors, and they raised, 20 kids raised $6,500 in a week for the school.
And we're talking about elementary school
Elementary
kids,
school.
yeah. Who don't have an access to funding, or who don't, but they do have the ability to tell the story to their parents, to people they know.
So it starts not about crowdfunding or not about the money. It starts with the storytelling. It starts with the brand, and everyone has a story to tell. Like a little kid might be passionate about some tree that he always climbed. Tell that story.
In regards to, hi, Randy Vale, Impact Investing, in regards to monetizing the social currency, going from consumer to advocate to ambassador, is there a platform in line that community currency starts to build that can be supported by CSR, corporate social responsibility, investment dollars?
So we started the transactional model with the nonprofits because it's easy. It's more. There's none, as you said, no merchandising to fulfill. It's just a transactional base. But we're talking to a lot of big brands right now, and we actually passed Accenture's IT and security audit, and they want us to take as the long tail effect as well. Get consumers interested in carrying your brand, and then slap on top of that a royalty program, so that instead of paying the brick and mortar store or Amazon the commission, you pay your consumers, your fans, who carry your brand forward.
Well, in terms of the corporate responsibility, so the testing with Microsoft, did I say it loud? So there's a lot going on, and it's an issue. And we just in the middle. I'm sitting on the board of a little company, but they are in a conversation right now how this is going to roll into the corporate world, because it's a completely different animal.
Right, we're actually working on a lot of different platforms, but one of our main focus is revitalization of cities and states, and it's just a beautiful model to say, you know, Randy Vale every day just wants to focus on empathic, cause-driven work, but can't afford to keep the lights on. And so we're seeing this crowdsourcing, crowdfunding way to create community currency that is much like Bitcoin over the depth of time. So I want to please meet with you guys.
Brian Rada, I host a show called Digital Natives, where I interview stars like Olga. That's a formal invitation, but. And I really want to get back to this question about search engine optimization, sort of trending. You know, like if YouTube is its own sandbox, and also kind of for your platform. I mean, how soon, in your experience, do you see things trending like people go to an event and they want to use your platform, how soon do you get the content up to drive traffic to their site to engage an audience? And then the second part, and in terms of YouTube, like there's something trending in the news, how soon do you have to get a video up to optimize, you know, views to that video?
You wanna go first?
Sure, mine is gonna be very fast. That's one of the hardest part about creating content is seeing what's topical and trying to come up with a creative idea, spit it out, because editing takes days. But I would say within the first 5 hours, it has to be out. Yeah.
Within the first 5 hours of
Of the news hitting.
actually news,
Yeah.
of actually news
I
breaking,
yeah.
you like go and get an idea and go start filming
Yes.
and try to
If
get
I'm in the mood, yeah. If I'm not in the mood, I'm really mad at myself. But yeah, if I'm in the mood, I would say in the first 5 hours. And a good example of that was Rebecca Black's Friday parody. I was not part of that at all, but my friend released the video Saturday morning, and his views just went through the roof. Maybe 30 million views. But it was so fast. You have to think about it because then people think about things for maybe 2 days, and then they slowly start to forget because there's new things happening.
So from the phenomena that you create, all the conversation that happens, YouTube is one channel, but then there's Instagram, all of that. Where do you go? Where's the destination that you can see all of that trending? So we built the platform that you can actually invert it and consume all media for a particular subject in one place.
How long does it take?
2
2 minutes. 2 minutes.
2 minutes. It's we branded all about you. We said all about you, and the about you is literally anything that is your subject, your platform, your brand, your
So
company.
it is as long as people hashtag it.
Hashtag
then
it.
it'll
You
feed
can also pull public account.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like that.
Actually, want to ask about, and you touched on that, like, you know, there's so many social media platforms, and I know, you know, we're
Yeah.
in a platform, but how do you see YouTube, and I want to ask you specifically, what do you like, how do you see YouTube, like, with Instagram? Because people like, you know, I don't know, it's like, everything is time consuming, like YouTube, 3 minutes, oh my God, heart attack, right? Like, they want to do everything within 10 seconds, and then in video, Instagram, it's literally 10 seconds and you got it all. So how do you see YouTube and the new video, Instagram or other social media, like in relation to each other?
I'll take it.
Well, that's. Oh,
Yeah.
Okay. So video. Well, let's take a look at video. Video can serve a variety of different objectives, right? It can educate, it can inform, and I think a lot of this really super short form, like the Vines and the Instagrams, it's a form of communication, and that's we've seen a huge boom in video because that using video as a way to communicate didn't even exist, you know, a few years ago, and now there's, you know, there are that's what a lot of kids these days are using. So, so from YouTube's perspective, I think there are reasons and ways to use, you know, YouTube for from an educational standpoint, entertainment standpoint, and you know, I don't think we're necessarily going to say we have to be the, you know, the one size fits all thing. So I mean, it's, you know, if from a communication standpoint, you know, if Instagram is working for a certain segment, then you know, we'll certainly see certain areas, certain segments of users using different tools.
Yeah, and what you see also happen, and that's why Vine became so popular because it was 6 seconds and people felt like they didn't have to waste any time watching it for 10 minutes or more. And Instagram introduced the feature, and I personally think it's not as successful as Vine, and it never will be. So I don't think people will ever go to Instagram to see video. But what else is happening, because all the YouTubers on Instagram, so they use the following on Instagram and they push it to their YouTube. And all of my friends who kind of lost popularity on YouTube, they joined Vine and became super, super successful. And they're doing the same thing. They're taking their audience and sending them to YouTube because YouTube is just very legitimate at this point, and people still want to keep all the audience there and just be ahead of the game.
And my experience is from talking to a lot of people who do
social media. Experiment. Just go out and try whichever channel that actually works for you.
Yeah.
I personally hate making videos on Instagram.
This is a question for Andy. I've seen a lot of companies and clients of ours try to figure out the QVC next generation model. And I've seen I mean, the problem with the annotations is right now it's hard to click out of the YouTube ecosystem, but I think a couple companies have done it. I'm just curious, do you see that platform ever coming to life within the YouTube ecosystem? And if not, where do you think that that's going to eventually come to market?
Yeah, I think it will come to market. We're working on it. We're doing a lot of thinking around that and experimentation.
And so do you see anything that's been really successful today?
I think you'll start to see, look to see what we start to roll out in the next few months. I think we recognize it's a really important use case, and we haven't, we've intentionally limited the ability for you to click out to other sites just to protect the viewer. But we recognize that there's tremendous value in being able to do it in a better way, and so you'll see some innovation.
And do you think, I'm just curious, will YouTube, continue a similar percentage model across physical product sales that originate from content, or will that be kind of left as a separate business?
I could speculate, but I probably shouldn't. Let me tell you this though, that our goal isn't necessarily to get a percentage of everything that ever happens. Our goal is to make sure that creators can continue to be sustainable in what they create. So if it's offering a feature in which we're just connecting supplier A to fulfillment house B and making that just easier for you as a creator, and we can just do that because we have at large scale these partnerships with these other companies, then we'll do that because it can help you in a financial pain point, for example. It can help eliminate some cost that you as a creator incur in your daily P&L. So that's our goal. We're not out to grab.
Thank you so much for being here, first off. And I have a question with, right now I host a few channels. One has 500 million views, and then a couple are just starting. But what if I wanted to share a positive message, or yet didn't have, like the business team or like if I was creating the content, is there a consultant that could kind of work with you or coach you to be really successful in the YouTube game?
In the YouTube game, we've actually helped a lot of small artists and comedians, and we very easily create their platform for them to speak, and we can do that turnkey very fast, and they're because of all of this organic content that comes to one destination that is you, it also becomes very relevant in terms of Google ranking. You're much easily found. So we're happy to lend a hand.
Yeah, just talk to Joheem because whatever product you have, whatever you're promoting within yourself as your brand, so obviously whoever will be Googling you or your product, you will be number one. So we have preferences. It's actually, they have a patent.
And my mentors, I guess, I just watch everything that my friends are doing. I'm doing it better.
There goes my
Careful,
sock.
my Olga.
I'm not going to compete with you. Jeez.
It's the YouTube playbook, right?
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So here's a website to go to, youtube.com/creators. That's our creator portal, which you may see Olga.
Yes, I'm there.
One of the images up on there is a featured creator, and it's a great portal for all sorts of resources, which includes the creator playbook, which gives a lot of tips for audience development. How to work on monetization, some basic strategies that we cover here. So yeah, thanks for bringing that up. That's a good
Yeah, it's a great one.
takeaway resource that you can think.
And what YouTube did, they questioned all the YouTubers that became successful and see what they did. So they put together this gigantic library of everything that works, and they updated every once in a while.
Yeah, and in fact, we're actually starting to add a lot more video examples, like in the voices of the creators, because we recognize that not everyone wants to spend time reading all of this stuff. So how about a show me, don't tell me type of thing.
building on the previous question.
Can you,
I'm sorry,
Well, then-
building on the previous question, what are your thoughts on MCNs from both YouTube's perspective and Olga's, the creator's perspective?
Sure, I'll give a brief content, or a brief answer there. So I think it's great to see, an ecosystem, businesses developing in this ecosystem. We're really supportive of that. Seeing multi-channel networks as, there's value-added services that absolutely do a fantastic job of making sure that they are helping creators in ways that YouTube can't do. So I think each one of them has their own strength and their own offering. I just want to make sure, personally, that creators join them for the right reasons and go in sort of in making an informed decision if that fits or doesn't fit. And it could be perfect, it could be good, it could maybe fit, maybe not.
So I've been part of, I'll be very honest, and I love talking about this. I've been part of 2 MCNs now, and I left both of them. And there's been great moments that I really loved about it, the personal attention sometimes that you get, but overall, depends who you are. For me, for example, I've been doing it for 7 years. All of the YouTubers are my friends, so if the MCN offering to connect me with bigger YouTubers so we can collaborate and grow together, I don't really need help in that because I can just call my friends. Branding deals are the biggest thing why people would want to join the MCN, but everyone has to realize that if you're not a really popular YouTuber, MCN is still not going to help you to get a branding deal because at the end of the day, it's all about the numbers. And the third thing, what was the third? A lot of people join because they have problems on YouTube and they need somebody, middleman, to fix the problems, where I find that it's a lot faster to become friends with Andy other people on YouTube directly. So I can just call them and say, I have a problem, or somebody flagged my video, and they fix it right
lots and
away.
lots of bugs all the
Yeah,
time.
yeah. Find them all always. So for me, it's never really been super beneficial because but I'm also such a workaholic and a go-getter. I'm constantly working and discovering new bugs on YouTube or learning new ways. So I feel like an MCN can't catch up with me because I'm always thinking ahead of what else is happening and while they're trying to, because you have to also remember MCNs are still learning the business where we've created this business.
That's right. It's all you.
No, but YouTubers, I feel like YouTubers that became successful, they know more than most of the MCNs.
It's a multi-channel network.
Yeah, which multi-channel network, they see great value, so they sign all the YouTubers, and usually they take the percentage of their revenue. And a lot of creators, unfortunately, don't understand how it all works, so they just give their channels to MCNs, thinking that, MCN is only taking 30% of my revenue, where YouTube is already taking 45%. So then at the end of the day, you're really losing a lot of money and not getting much back.
Examples, you may have heard of Maker Studios, Machinima, Full Screen, Big Frame, names like that are examples of it.
there's a lady behind.
I was just curious, could you give a couple personal examples of either companies or personal YouTubers that you've seen on your own that have given really great campaigns that have helped them go viral? Any examples of ones that you personally liked?
I can't say enough about Hank and John Green, the Vlog Brothers, because not only do they create amazing content, but they're so completely authentic, and the story is as to how they've kind of risen up in popularity. So Vlog Brothers is their primary channel. SciShow and Crash Course are some of the channels that they do. But I think they're great, and they were actually able to parlay that into creating VidCon and Project for Awesome, which is a sort of like a YouTuber telethon in which you're raising awareness and funds for nonprofits and causes, which is just amazing. So I want to caution against the word viral because that viral doesn't sustain, as Jack mentioned earlier, and viral has some elements that are needed. You have to be so for something to be viral, it has to be, first of all, authentic. It has to be surprising in some way. It has to be, it has to give the viewer a reason to share something. But so many videos meet those three criteria, and not everything is viral, because the fourth one, which oftentimes misses, and it's out of your control, is that it has to get picked up by a tastemaker and posted to by or a curator or something. Like Reddit needs to pick it up, or you need to see it somewhere else. Somebody who has a large blog following sees that and thinks it's interesting, and it needs that initial impulse to sort of a new audience then for that. So you've created the system that has a positive feedback loop, but you've got to give it the push down the hill. And that doesn't happen unless a tastemaker picks it up. So when we talk about viral, I want to sort of caution away oftentimes when people think like, oh, what do I do to get a viral video? I mean, that's a bit of the formula, but I would encourage you to do what Olga has done, what Hank and John Green have done, and that is they find their voice, they're authentic, and they have a brand which is their voice that's consistent, and people know what to expect. They build the audience, and that is also, back to Jack's question, is a key for long-term sustainability too.
I'm sorry. Out of our time, we will be happy to continue the conversation outside of this room. Feel free to. Thank you so much for coming.
Crank it away.
Almost said like me on the floor. I had dinner with and I read something called Oh, yeah, I've heard of that. Yeah, sure. Oh, you do? Oh, wow, cool. It's awesome. Yes, I know. Yeah, of course. That's very cool. How long has this been around? Yeah, 5 years. Yeah. Jordan started this. Yeah.